Welcome to the course Heat Exchangers Fundamentals and Design Analysis. If you recall, we have started learning the micro heat exchangers, and for micro heat exchangers it is important to know that how heat transfer takes place, convective heat transfer takes place through micro passages or micro channels. So, we have spent some time, we have taken some example, and I have told that the fluid flow, particularly gas flow through narrow size passages, through micro passages, that is unique, and that has got some difference with similar kind of flow situation when that takes place through a conventional conventionally sized channel. So, let us proceed with that heat transfer in gas flow and in micro channel we are considering. So, if you recall that we have told that there could be, depending on Knudsen number, we can have conventional flow or continuum flow. We can have continuum flow with slip condition at the wall. There could be transitional flow and there could be free molecular flow. So, let us say the Knudsen number is such or the channel dimension is such that based on Knudsen number we are getting the conventional flow only, that within the channel there will be there will not be much difference in the flow phenomena compared to a large size channel. But in case of micro channel there are some speciality. When the channel is of small size there is some speciality, there is some unique features. What are those? That even when the gas flow is in continuum region, the correlation for micro channel flow do not hold good, macro channel flow do not hold good for micro channel. Why? One of the observation is that transition from laminar to turbulent that occurs in a range, and that range is 400 to 900. So, this range is very small. In case of large size channel, this transition occurs around Re is equal to Reynolds number is equal to 2000, but here it is occurring within a narrow range 400 to 900. Reason is due to the manufacturing of this micro channel, these channels are rough. The roughness, that is a relative quantity here. The channel dimensions are small, but whatever manufacturing method we adopt, particularly the special manufacturing method which we adopt for making these small channels, they cannot make, they can make the channel size small, we can get small channel size, but the roughness sizes are not scaled down equally. So, then what will happen, that the roughnesses are or roughness elements are large. So, that large roughness, that is one feature which is special to micro channel. Then due to the manufacturing technique, the roughnesses are non uniformly distributed. When we are fabricating a larger size channel, then what happens, that roughness is uniformly distributed over the surface area. But here in case of micro channel, the roughnesses could be very non isotropically distributed over the surface area. So, due to these two effects, what we will find that there could be a early transition of laminar to turbulent flow. There could be an early transition from laminar to turbulent flow, and due to this early transition, what we will have, that turbulent flow gives good mixing and good heat transfer. So, there could be a tendency of high rate or rather improvement of heat transfer in case of micro channel flow. And obviously, in such cases the correlations which we used to have for macro channel will not hold good. So, what I have written here, due to the effect of roughness, there is improvement in heat transfer. A large number of correlations are available. Just for example, I have given two correlations, that for two different ranges of Reynolds number, we will have these two correlation for Nusselt number for calculation of heat transfer. Calculation of heat transfer coefficient for estimating heat transfer. You need not think that these are the only correlation, there are many correlations. Similar correlations are there for friction factor also, which I have not given, because it will be boring to give go through all this correlation. As and when needed, getting a good reference book or handbook or technical paper, one can pick up these correlations. What I like to stress upon, which is very important, that even in the continuum level or even in the continuum region, if the passage size is small, then we can have a difference in heat transfer between the small size channel and a large size channel. So, obviously, we should need to have different sets of correlation. This is important to know. With this, let us proceed. Well, now let us think of, we are considering gas flow through narrow passages. So, let us think of what are, or let us look into what are the effect of gas property. So, Knudsen number that can be defined by the gas properties, like here we have got Knudsen number, the basic definition is from the molecular free path and the scale length of the system or problem we are considering. So, mean free path, that is one important parameter of Knudsen number, and Knudsen number is important when we are dealing with microscale heat transfer. So, mean free path calculation which depends on gas property. So, lambda is given by this formula. So, lambda is equal to mu into root over pi upon rho under root 2 R T. Mu is the dynamic viscosity, rho is the density, R is the gas constant and T is the temperature. So, here you see then the mean free path that is different for different gases, it should be, and we have tabulated here air, helium, hydrogen and nitrogen, all are at same temperature, R values are different, rho are different, mu different. So, the molecular mean free path that is also different. So, obviously, the gases which are lighter gases, they will have larger molecular mean free path. Before a collision, they should cover larger distance. So, what we can find for helium and hydrogen, air and nitrogen, they are very close. So, 0.068 and 0.066. So, these two are close and these two are small compared to hydrogen or helium. With this, let us go to another aspect. Channel dimension in micrometer for different types of flow for gases at 1 atmosphere. Four different kind of flow I have defined towards the beginning of this course, towards the beginning of this topic, that is continuum flow with slip boundary, then transitional flow and free molecular flow. So, for different gases, we have given the channel dimension in millimeter. One example let us take. For air, if the channel dimension in micrometer, it is greater than 67 micrometer, then it is continuum flow. If it is within 0.67 to 67 micrometer, then it is slip flow. 0.0067 to 0.67 micrometer, then it is transition flow, and less than 0.0067 micrometer, then it is free molecular flow. I like to remind you once again that for these 4 different kind of flow regimes, we will have different kind of physical laws. For the first case, we are familiar with the laws that let us say we are solving a momentum balance problem. So, Navier-Stokes equation will be used for continuum flow, but again we have to consider just sometimes back I have discussed that the wall roughness that plays a very important role. So, the many of the conventional correlations we cannot use or we have to use with caution. Then we have got the slip flow region where Navier-Stokes equation will be useful, but the boundary conditions are different. Then we have got transitional flow. Here we have to have some sort of statistical laws like Boltzmann technique, or we can have the Monte Carlo method. Then we have got free molecular flow, each and every molecule motion of each and every molecule becomes important there. So, this I have explained earlier, and here also I once again I like to tell you, and here we can see that how with channel dimension we can have different kind of flow for different kind of gases. Okay. So, the channel dimension for slip flow will be different for air and hydrogen. So, this we have to keep it in mind. Let us go to the next information. Here all the different kind of flow phenomena has been described, and hydraulic diameter has been given in millimeter or micrometer. Conventional channel generally hydraulic diameter is greater than 3 millimeter. Mini channels 3 millimeter to 200 micrometer. Micro channel, so 200 micrometer to 10 micrometer. Transitional channel 10 micrometer to 0.1 micrometer. Transitional micro channels we will have 10 micrometer to 1 micrometer. Transitional nano channels 1 micrometer to 0.1 micrometer, and molecular nano channels that will be 0.1 micrometer and less. So, you see that people for convenience they have named the channels. This is not very sacrosanct, there could be some difference, and this is for gas flow. Some people say that we should follow the same kind of classification for liquid flow or flow for two phase fluid, but some people say no, for liquid flow or for flow of multi-phase mixture, two phase mixture, we should have different classification, but it just gives an idea that what we can consider as conventional channel, micro channel, transitional channel, etc. Let us go to another information. So, we have got some idea regarding micro channel. Now, micro channel are small size channel, what could be their dimension? So, that also we have some idea. What is the shape of the micro channel? The shape of the micro channels are shown here. So, you see first we can see a rectangular micro channel, then this is kind of a trapezoidal, this is part of a circle, the cross section is part of a circle, this is an hexagon and this is a circular passage. So, let me tell you these different kind of passages are seen in micro channel design or in micro heat exchanger, in micro heat sink, because most of the cases these microchannels are manufactured by some special techniques. The conventional techniques are not suitable for making microchannel. We will come to this aspect very soon. And out of all these shapes, though there are circular shapes, circular passages of circular cross section present in micro heat exchangers, micro heat sinks, but that is not very common. At the beginning I have started with an example of a cell and tube heat exchanger where microtubes are used, but that is not very common. When there are number of passages in a heat exchanger, generally they are of non-circular cross section. So, this is also one speciality of microchannel heat sinks or microchannel heat exchangers, that the passages are in most of the cases non-circular. So, it should not be thought that circular passages are not possible, but they are rare. Let us go to the next slide. So, one method only I have shown. Microchannels or microchannel heat sinks, microchannel heat exchangers, they are made of many different kind of material. One could be silicon wafer. So, from the silicon wafer, how we are making these channels? So, this is one way one can see that, let us say we have taken two wafer. On one wafer we have made this kind of impression, and in another wafer we have made this kind of impression, and then these two wafers are bond together. So, if these two wafers are bond together, so we can get rectangular passages like this, we can get a rectangular passage like this, a triangular passage like this, a semicircular passage. So, you can see that this is how the microchannels are formed, and even with this method we can create some sort of a microchannel heat sinks or heat sink or microchannel heat exchanger. And probably this particular slide explains why we get different kind of channel geometry, because the manufacturing method is completely different. Of course, this is not the only manufacturing method, that is why we get different kind of microchannels, microchannels of different shapes, the shapes which are not very common in case of conventional heat transfer equipment. So, with this let us go to the next slide. Here we are giving a taxonomy of microfabrication technologies. Microfabrication, when I am telling or when I am mentioning microfabrication, this is meant for making micro channels, and ultimately they can be used for micro heat exchangers. So, this is for your micro channels. Now, what are the technique? So, one side we have got traditional manufacturing, traditional method of manufacturing miniaturized channels, and the other side we have got modern method of manufacturing. Let me tell you, I have mentioned somewhere, and again I like to stress upon the point that as the microchannel heat exchangers are becoming more important, there are more areas of application day by day. We are finding more application. So, the manufacturing or fabrication of microchannel, that is also an active field of research, and different new techniques are being evolved. So, conventional technique or traditional technique, if we see that, let us go to the conventional machining technique, which has been mentioned as shop techniques, milling and shawing, electro discharge, ultrasonic, water jet cutting. So, these are some of the methods, which are used for making microchannel. Milling and shawing, actually milling is a good method for making micro channel. So, it will create open micro channel, and then if there is a top cover we can get the closed channel, and with milling, particularly micro milling, end milling kind of a thing, what we will get? We will get channels of probably we will be conveniently, I mean one can conveniently make rectangular channel, but the channel need not be always very straight channel. We can have zigzag or serpentine channel, we can have bends etcetera in the channel. So, that is possible with micro milling, particularly end milling type of operation, machining operation. Then with sawing also one can have straight channel, at least straight channels one can have with sawing. Circular saw one can have straight channel. With diamond cutter one can create channels. So, these are the methods by which one can do, and wire EDM is again another method, one can make channels of unique shapes, and also the whole design, if there are bends etcetera, by proper manufacturing process, conventional manufacturing process, but by proper planning of manufacturing process, those type of channels can be made. So, this is one way, particularly for manufacturing metallic micro channels, micro passages, this is important. Then there is another method, manufacturing technique, which generally is not used for manufacturing of metallic component, but for other component these processes are used, that is printed circuit board. The way we fabricate printed circuit board, using the same procedure we can make micro channels, small channels with some sort of bends etcetera, with serpentine features we can make it. Then stereolithography is one method by which we can make it. Then electroforming, molding, these are the method by which we can make it. So, though I like to give a word of caution that though very large number of methods have been given in this particular slide. So, it is not kind of all inclusive, there could be some other methods like some other forming methods that can be also used for making micro channel. So, here one can see that by some molding method it can be done. So, with this we come to an end of traditional technique. The left side of the traditional technique is for generally adopted for metallic parts, and right side we are adopting it for other manufacturing processes, but they can be taken for making micro channel also. The modern technique. So, modern technique again we have got several classification. One is batch technique. So, batch technique if we consider, so one is silicon based. Many of the micro channel heat sinks and sometimes even a small heat exchanger can be made out of silicon, and it is made out of silicon because we have to have electronic component cooling is a very important feature for having reliable circuitry for higher scale of integration, and for that we have to have micro channel in silicon wafer. So, the technique which are silicon based are can be classified as bulk, surface and surface on system on chip. Then bulk, that can be done by wet chemical etching and dry plasma etching. So, silicon wafer, on silicon wafer if we have to have these passages, so generally some sort of etching process can be done, chemical etching process is there or dry plasma etching process is there. For some metallic component also one can adopt some sort of chemical or electrochemical process, some sort of etching process with proper masking that can be adopted. Then we can have LIGA or UV LIGA, ultraviolet LIGA. LIGA actually is a German word for lithography. So, some technique of lithography. This is a course of heat exchanger, we cannot go into details, but for micro heat exchanger what are the methods, let us see very quickly. Then we can have micro molding and micro stamping process, etc. Then for other materials, what kind of other materials we can have? We can have glass, ceramic, metal already we have told, but some of the metal processing can be done by these modern techniques also. Then hybrid processes are there, then wafer bonding already I have told that on the wafer you create channel and then you bond two wafer to give some sort of a specific shape. Fusion anodic adhesive, so that is also one way of getting unique channels, and then assembly packaging. And there are other methods. By laser you can have many different kind of passages done, and then there are some other technique which has been mentioned here as disruptive technique. New materials, new processes, new design, nanotechnology. So, these are some sort of disruptive processes by which things can be done. So, basically with the help of non-conventional processes we can have it. Laser processes I cannot discuss due to paucity of time in details, but by laser processing a very large number of passages or very large number of geometries, small features that can be made and that can be used for micro scale heat transfer and micro scale heat exchanger fabrication. So, what happens? We make micro passages, after that they have to be stacked and joined. So, diffusion bonding is one method by which it can be done. Laser welding or laser based joining process, electron beam based joining process, these are also processes which are used. So, just to give a brief idea how these heat exchangers are made, because these techniques, some of these techniques are cutting edge techniques, new techniques, techniques which are under development, but they are very important if the micro scale heat exchangers are to be made. So, with this I come to an end of today's lecture. What we will do? We have some idea regarding the micro scale heat transfer and micro passages, micro channels, how they are fabricated. We will take it forward and then ultimately very quickly we will end with some idea regarding micro heat exchanger. Thank you.